Welcome to Dawg Tracks, coming to you from the Gardner-Webb University podcast studio at the historic Elliott House. This is a podcast where we celebrate the people, stories, and traditions that make Gardner-Webb athletics so special, from student athletes to coaches to alumni, fans, friends, and others who call this university home in one fashion or another. Dawg Tracks is all about the Runnin Bulldogs and the community that rallies behind them. I'm Noel T. Manning II, and today's guest is someone who plays a vital role in supporting our student athletes and strengthening that Bulldog community. We're joined by Will Glover, director of the Bulldog Club, the fundraising booster organization that helps provide scholarships, resources, and opportunities for Gardner-Webb student athletes across all sports. And Will, he's a Boiling Springs native, a Gardner-Webb graduate, and someone whose connection to the university runs deep. Today we're going to talk about his journey, the mission of the Bulldog Club, and how fans and alumni can be a part of the future of Gardner-Webb athletics. Let's jump right in. Will, thank you so much for joining us right here on Dawg Tracks. I'd love for you to kind of talk about your personal journey growing up in Boiling Springs, your time at Gardner-Webb, working with the men's basketball program some as a graduate assistant. And also what led you to your current role in the Bulldog Club, and going back even further, why the love for sports? I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So welcome. Man.
Thank you. Like you said, born and raised here in Boiling Springs. So I grew up a Runnin Bulldog fan, and I think the love for sports really started in the LYCC gym.
Really?
Coach Holtman was there, and I was a ball boy at, I couldn't even tell you how old I was, but it was young. It was the old days, so that was the end of sports for me right there. So I knew I wanted to be.
Chris Holtman, who was our men's basketball coach, who went to Butler, Ohio State, and still a vital part of our organization here.
Big part. Everybody recognizes that name, so he kind of got me started off in the love of basketball here, and that led me to go to NC State. My undergraduate studies ended up back here at home. I know I wanted to come back to Boiling Springs. So Coach Luther was fortunate. I was fortunate enough to get an opportunity with him as a graduate assistant last year with the men's basketball team. So that right there really jump-started my career and gave me the position that I have now. So that right there was really the starting point for me.
So growing up, you came to Gardner-Webb athletic events. Your parents very active in this community. You've got a father who was involved in law enforcement for his career, and a mother who was a teacher. And so community was really important to you.
It really was, and that was one thing that really excited me about the job. It was just, what makes Gardner-Webb so special is the people that are here in the community. We're the foundation of it, our fans. So that was a big thing and a big talking point that I said coming into the role I wanted to focus on. I think I've done it so far, and we have a lot more ways to go too. We're not going to be 100% to where we want to be unless we have the whole community behind us. So that was one thing that I really, really focus on.
What do you think is the most rewarding part of this particular job? You get to meet a lot of people, get to interact with student athletes, with alumni, the community, coaches. I mean, your job is a face that connects with so many different people.
Yeah, I think the most rewarding part is, one, when you're talking to these fans and Gardner-Webb supporters, their interest is in athletics. And that's all about the Bulldog Club. We fundraise for student-athlete scholarships. So as soon as they invest in the Bulldog Club, you can see the intrinsic rewards that they have. And going back on that, the student-athletes themselves, this is their first step, in their future. So when our fans and Gardner-Webb community members focus on the Bulldog Club and invest in that, you can see it come to life for our student-athletes. They get out there on the field. My favorite thing is at the basketball games, there's some fans that will sit close to the court, and every time the girls and guys basketball teams go in and out, they're high-fiving, they're talking.
Wow.
And that right there is just the interaction that we try to get.
Yeah. So let's talk more about the mission of the Bulldog Club. You'd mentioned scholarships. Talk more about what it provides for our student athletes and why that is vital to what you do here and how we have success in our athletic program.
Yes, so the Bulldog Club tagline, we say, your membership, their future, our mission. So here at Gardner-Webb, our student athletes, we want them to come in with as many resources as possible. Scholarships is the baseline for that. That is the foundation. So the Bulldog Club directly supports those student athlete scholarships. And you can just see it change as soon as they step on campus. We want to make it memorable for these student athletes across all 22 sports. And the Bulldog Club is the start to the rest of their lives.
And you've got various levels of membership. You've got people who have been doing this for years, for decades, that they've been supporting Bulldog Club athletics. Then you have others that kind of come on. It's a one-time thing. Maybe they have a student athlete that they're connected to. Maybe they're a parent, or maybe that they've maybe a professor who's taught one of them. So talk about the different ways that people can get involved. You don't have to talk about the different price levels or anything, but just talk about the different ways that they can get involved and maybe what the benefits are that they can get from this, other than just supporting the student athlete and their successful journey as a D1 student athlete.
Absolutely. You know, we have many fans that don't live here in Bowling Springs. I'll talk to fans all across the country, and they watch all of our games on ESPN Plus, and they say, I can't be there in person, but I want to be involved. So that's their end for the Bulldog Club right there. We also have parents that want to show a little bit extra support in joining the Bulldog Club. And then we have our dedicated fans that are at all the games. There are some of our longtime, lifetime members, and they are continuously in it every single year. And some of the benefits outside of just supporting our student athletes is availability for tickets. You get to have some season ticket choices depending on the level you are. And my favorite thing about the Bulldog Club is our lowest level is $100, and that right there is just showing some support straight to our student athletes. $100 is the end to the rest of your lives as well. I see a lot of people where they're just really not sure what it is, but they want to be involved. They join the Bulldog Club at that first level, and every year they're like, this is something I will never stop doing. Yeah. And I just love seeing that, whether it's you're here at every game or you just watch them all on ESPN Plus. We accept them all.
Yeah, well, I was first introduced to the Bulldog Club when I was a student here at Gardner-Webb. I had a parent who had played high school and college baseball, and so baseball was their sport. And I had an uncle who was a head coach at a high school football coach in Garner, North Carolina. And so sports was a big part of who I was. And so when I started coming to school here, one of the first things that my stepfather, Jimmy Stewart, asked, he said, okay, I want to support athletics. I know that every college team has some kind of booster club. I want to support you. Tell me how to do it. And so he would show up at these football, and I lived in Goldsboro, North Carolina, so it wasn't like I was in Gastonia or Gaffney. It was a trek, and so they would make the trek to almost every home football game. They would come for baseball games, and I just remember the importance that instilled in me to see that my parents cared about the school that I was attending, and they wanted to support it, and they knew that what's vital to a campus community is that athletics program and the student athletes that make up this community. And so for me, it's been important from the time I first came here, and it was great to see that. Are there any standout stories for you when you think back of your time here? I know you've been here just a short time as the director, but I know even within that short time, you've had some great interactions. Any stories stand out, whether it's student athlete, a parent, or any key supporters that are maybe alums who have said, hey, I'm here? And you don't have to, I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Hey, all good.
But if there's any that stand out, I'd
absolutely.
love to hear.
Some ones that stand out for me is our football parents. Our football parents this past year were very involved with the Bulldog Club. And we recruit all across the country. We don't have all of our team in within an hour. We have people from Kentucky, Ohio, Michigan, everything like that. And, they'll join the Bulldog Club and they'll come to our pregame meals that we have at every home game. And I talk to them and they're like, oh, I'm from this part of Ohio. I'm like, okay, how was the drive, all this time and everything? They said, we'll be back next week. And,
wow.
And I'm like, next week? And he said, oh, yeah, we come for every game.
Wow.
So, these parents are so invested in their student athletes. And I just think it's awesome. They said, I don't care how far away it is, we're going to be at every home and away game.
Wow.
So just seeing that support for Gardner-Webb is just unbelievable. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, you mentioned the pregame meals. There are other opportunities for that community of Bulldog Club supporters to get together. Why do you think that's important to see that community gathering, that networking happening, and the friendships that develop out of there too?
The Bulldog Club just is a perfect setup for lifelong friendships. I grew up being a member of the Bulldog Club, and it's just kind of cool seeing however many years later now I'm in this role, and I still see those Bulldog Club members that I grew up looking up to, and now I'm just interacting with them every single day. We have the pregame meals every home football game, and at every home men's and women's basketball game, we have a Bulldog Club section right on the court side. And something special about Gardner-Webb is we don't have to hide our faith. So, the fellowship that the Bible talks about, I just kind of think like fellowship at church, and I just see the Bulldog Club section being the same thing. Yeah. Everybody's coming together, everybody's smiling, laughing, having a good time, and that right there just really speaks volume to our program.
You mentioned first being a part of this program when you were a ball boy as a kid, and being your parents are part of the Bulldog Club as well when you were younger. I remember I was a part of the Bulldog Club when I first started working here, and my son Thomas, remember bringing him to some of those pregame events where they would meet players, and there's shots of Thomas when he was just a little, up to my knee, hanging out with people like Chris Gash, who was a great Gardner-Webb, student athlete, and Thomas vividly remembers going down to the field after football games and talking to football players, and that's one of the things that we see happening. And if you want to build a community of support, you do it by having opportunities where people can interact with the students who are on the fields, who are on the courts, who are on the pitch, the ones that are out there doing it. And you do provide those opportunities.
Absolutely. And, these coaches, they do a great job, and sometimes they don't even have to tell the athletes, I see it more often than not. It's the athletes doing it themselves, coming out to talk to little kids and other fans. The coaches have done such a great job in the off season building their character that they don't have to tell the student athletes what to do, to go interact with this fan or that one. And it being a small town here, we'll walk in Ingalls and there's a student athlete from this sport. Here's another from this sport. Yeah. And you start putting the pieces together. You see them everywhere. Sometimes you feel like you see them more than you see your own family at home. It's like, man, they're everywhere I look, left and right. There they are. And that's just what's special about Gardner-Webb and the community that we build.
As you are continuing to build this program under your leadership, the Bulldog Club, what are some of the things that you are excited about as you're moving forward with growth, engagement? What are some of the things you're looking forward to?
Yeah, some things that I'm looking forward to is filling the stands. I've really seen an increase this past year of how we were able to fill the stands and get that engagement. Once the fans are there in the stands and in their field, that's when you're sitting beside, let's say, for example, somebody from Kings Mountain comes over, they just want to go to the Gardner-Webb football game. Well, they bought a seat, coincidentally, beside a Bulldog Club member.
Wow.
And it's just the word of mouth that really gets it going. And with the Bulldog Club, our goal is to get everybody in those stands a Bulldog Club member. We want to fund all student-athlete scholarships that we provide here at Gardner-Webb through all 22 sports. So that is, of course, a large goal, but it's something that is attainable, and that's something that we're going to keep on working towards.
Well, one of the things that I notice when I come to games, I see sponsorship opportunities as well. And I know that you've got local businesses, organizations that want to give. They may not be official Bulldog Club members, but they do want to be involved in sponsorships. Talk a little bit about the sponsorship opportunities and why those are also important, because they end up going into the Bulldog Club funding as well.
Absolutely, yes. So we have some sponsorships with local businesses. That is, You can sponsor Bulldog Club events, or you can sponsorship Gardner-Webb athletic events or non-athletic events that we have here. We're open to everything. We have a lot of flexibility. We have a lot of opportunities online, social media throughout the whole year. That's also a thing where some days I have a Bulldog Club hat on. Some days I have a sponsorship hat on. Some days I have a Bulldog Club sponsorship hat on. So, we just kind of, we share the love everywhere, and we want all of our local businesses involved. This is a great market right here that Gardner-Webb has regionally and nationally, whether it's on ESPN Plus or people showing up to games. Our numbers do not lie when we get them in. So that's something that we try to preach to these businesses to get on board with us.
We're looking at Division I athletics as a shifting dynamic right now. A lot of things going on, NIL, transfer portal. What are some of the things that you are seeing happening that some may call challenges, but maybe you can see them as opportunities as well, as you're talking about that changing dynamic that we're seeing in college athletics?
Absolutely. I think one thing is, of course, Gardner-Webb doesn't have NIL. But what we do have is the Bulldog Club, and that is the fundraising arm for Gardner-Webb athletics right now. So that's where I see an opportunity for us to thrive. I also see at all these other schools, guys are staying 1 year and jumping ship and going to another school. Gardner-Webb is a place where we want people to stay all 4 years. Yeah. They're not chasing the money; they're chasing the relationships that they have throughout the community, all these opportunities. And all the alumni that I talk to at Gardner-Webb, they just talk about, that's the one thing they fall back on, the community relationships I had and the opportunity. I didn't want to move back to wherever they were from the nation. When they stayed all 4 years here, that made a huge, huge impact on their life. So I think that's an opportunity that we can thrive on right there.
Yeah, and you're right. It's, for this place, you and I both have seen the community that this place provides. And if students decide to come here and they want a community, I tell you what, they're not going to be disappointed. They're going to find it here, and they're going to find opportunities to grow within that community as well. So let's talk about alumni involvement. I know that you are very involved in alumni, as you mentioned, who don't live around here, that want to stay connected. How do you keep them connected? How do you keep the alumni involved no matter where they are?
Absolutely, yes. So I work right across the hall from me. Shout out to Director of Alumni and Parent Relations, Shannon Hovis. Me and her work very closely with these alumni. For example, last year, Gardner-Webb football played at Georgia Tech. And there was a large crowd of Gardner-Webb alumni at Georgia Tech and in the Atlanta area that they can't make it here to Bowling Springs every Saturday. So we brought Gardner-Webb to them. So we had a large tailgate, Bulldog Club, alumni, family, and friends tailgate there. So that's just one opportunity, an example that we do to outreach to them. We have, of course, weekly and monthly emails, and we just try to get them involved in any way that we can find. Everybody's different. You can't reach everybody on one social media post, but you can reach these other 2 people or 10 people doing something else. So what we like to do is we like to listen a lot and talk when we have to. You know what I mean? We want to hear what they're interested in and put a plan together to get them involved with us.
Awesome. Well, I've got some shot clock questions for you.
Let's hear it.
That's hard to say if you try to say it really, really fast. So some shot clock questions. So favorite game day tradition?
Yes, I think that is going to be at the men's and women's basketball games when they play that song at the under 4 media timeout, the light show that we have there. I'm trying to think of the name of the song. I can't remember, but everybody knows the dance. If you go to the basketball games, you know what the dance is.
All right. Favorite local spot in Boiling Springs that's off the Gardner-Webb campus?
I'm going to say the Bulldog Quick Snack. You got to go there on Thursdays for the $5 cheeseburger basket.
Okay, awesome. And give me a song that gets you pumped up and thinking about Gardner-Webb athletics, if you can remember a name of a song that does that.
Oh man, I've got to say, "Who Let the Dogs Out?"
Okay.
You know, every away basketball game that I'd go to, I'd roll my windows down and play that song after we won, leaving that town. So, "Who Let the Dogs Out?"
Awesome. All right, if folks are out there and want to know more information about the Bulldog Club, how can they find that out, and how can they reach out to you if they want to know more?
Absolutely, yes. Look up the Bulldog Club website at Gardner-Webb. And I also will share my email, wglover@gardner-webb.edu. And my phone number is 704-406-4630. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions, comments, suggestions. We're open to anything, and we'd love to have you all.
And just one note, if you're typing in, that email address is Gardner-Webb. Make sure you put a hyphen in between. I don't know if it'll get to us otherwise.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
We'll have to
we can test that.
We'll test that out after the show. I want to give you the final open mic. Any final thoughts you want to make sure you share that we haven't touched on? Anything else you wanted to make sure you talked about?
Yeah, just thank you to all. The Gardner-Webb community, Bulldog Club members, fans. Thank you to you all. Gardner-Webb is not who we are without you. If you're not a Bulldog Club member, feel free to join us. We would love to have you and support Gardner-Webb athletics.
Hey, well, thanks so much for taking the time to join us today and for all the work you're doing on behalf of the Gardner-Webb University Athletics Program and our student athletes. And if you're listening and you want to learn more about the Bulldog Club, whether that's becoming a member, supporting scholarships, or staying connected to the Runnin Bulldogs, you can find out all the details at gardner-webb.edu/Bulldog Club. And if today's dialogue reminded you of why Gardner-Webb Athletics is about more than wins and losses, that it's about community, opportunity, and shared pride, well, that is exactly what the Bulldog Club is all about. And you can keep up with the Runnin Bulldog Athletics program at gwusports.com. Thanks for listening to Dawg Tracks, and I'm Noel T. Manning II, coming to you from the Gardner-Webb Podcast Studios right here at the historic Elliott House on the Boiling Springs campus. And we will see you next time as we continue to celebrate the people and stories behind the Runnin Bulldogs. Until then, go Dogs!